there you have it. Look at that. 3 nice, beautiful watches. You've got one on the far right that's like a greenish gray. Call it the Citizen Frogzilla. You've got this gorgeous cyan blue diver. You got this very versatile Seiko Captain Willard. We'll call it the Junior, Willard Junior, because it's 42 and the 44's out there just smiling at us, saying, "Yeah, I dare you not to buy me." So how's your watch addiction going? Is your collection manageable? Do you have sufficient time to bond with your prized watches? Do you fill enough public spaces to curate your watch image? Come on, man, admit it. You like to curate a little image, man, why not? Though, I have to say, it means less to me these days than it has in the past. Are you sufficiently grateful for the watches in your collection? So, why do you need to be grateful for the watches in your collection? I'll tell you why. Because if you're not grateful, you're going to be constantly wanting new watches. And that's going to essentially reveal an emptiness and a craven watch gluttony, a sort of incurable impoverishment. And that's really the question here for us watch hobbyists. Do we feel rich in our watch abundance? Or are we haunted by a constant sense of neediness and abject impoverishment? What in the world? So, if you find yourself struggling with some of the above questions, you may be considering a lifestyle change. Come on, I hate that language. Lifestyle change. A lifestyle change in your watch hobby. You may be considering watch minimalism. So what is watch minimalism? So the way I see it, and I talked about this yesterday, so this is part 2 of this discussion. For some of you, having a big collection is a drag. It feels like a job you don't want to have. It's just an anxiety magnet. And so you're considering watch minimalism. 1 to 5 watches, in my estimate, would be a watch minimalist collection. I mean, if I only could have one watch, it would be the Willard. I've worn watches obsessively for about 16 years. 16 years, and if I had to choose just one, it would be the Willard. That would be number 1. So just put it right there for now. So well, but you're obsessive and you want them to see the case, the pudgy case design there. All right. So for example, a 3 watch collection, you'd have the Willard on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. You'd have the Cyan Blue Diver on Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. And then on Sunday, when you want to get in touch with your wild side, when you want to be the narrator of Steely Dan's Deacon Blues and slither through the streets like a serpent, you're going to wear your Frogzilla. You're going to wear your Frogzilla. And that's a very appealing lifestyle for you because you're not second guessing, you're not getting involved in wrist rotation anxiety. You're a winner in society. You're a man with focus, a man whose energy is not wasted on worrying about what he'll be wearing. Rather, a man who can pursue his higher purpose. Now, in my last video from yesterday, I said, well, some of the drawbacks of being a watch minimalist is that number 1, you're going to end up selling some beloved watches, and then you're going to be overcome by seller's regret. And number 2, you might just end up buying new watches anyway. Yeah, I mean, there's no guarantee that you're not going to get back on the buying merry-go-round. So in response to yesterday's video, Lee, who was a friend of the station, he addressed this topic. And he wrote, some watch enthusiasts I've been following for years tend to get obsessed over the total count of the watches in their collection. That would be me. I'm guilty of that. It's had an influence on me, Lee writes, but I'm coming around to the conclusion that it's an equally insidious part of what drives some of our purchasing behavior. I've just sold 8 watches. Now I have to get one more perfect watch to replace them because I have all these open slots in my watch box. Lee continues to write, very often you see threads here on YouTube and on forums. What is the best 3 watch collection? Or you only have $1,000 to spend. What would you get? I've had to resist the notion that I was somehow failing because my collection total got over some arbitrary number like 12 or 20. Let me just stop right there. I think 20 watches is excessive. I'm sorry. 12, I totally get it. You love watches, you love variety, you're obsessed with watches, you're a collector. 12 sounds manageable to me. This is just my personal opinion. Over 12, things are getting crazy. Things are getting crazy. I mean, I'll even give you some wiggle room, man. I'll go up to 15. But man, beyond that, it just sounds like... You know what, man? If I had more than 15 watches in my collection, remember that famous I Love Lucy episode where she's on the assembly line and the chocolate keeps coming down and she's just covered with chocolate? Yeah, that's my life on 16 to 25 watches. I'm Lucille Ball and I Love Lucy. I can't keep up, man, with the assembly line. I don't know, man. I don't know. But let's go back to Lee's comment. I think the proper answer has to be tailored to the individual, he writes. Wait a minute, you mean you can't come to my channel, Lee, and get one-size-fits-all answers? You can't get absolute answers? Dang! Well, of course, Lee, you're right. You're right. There is no one-size-fits-all answer. He writes, while owning 50 watches is probably excessive, does it make all that much difference if we own 7 or 13? If we desire to slow down or entirely stop the merry-go-round purchase and inevitable flipping of watches, then perhaps it takes a rethink of our approach to this hobby. Lee, I don't think we think. I think we're just reptiles. We're making reptilian impulsive buys. We're all lost in the social media merry-go-round here. But I would like to be a thinking watch guy. Where can I sign up for that? Lee goes on to write, I believe the total number is irrelevant, and the focus should be on which watches are getting any sort of regular wear. Now, what's interesting, ladies and gentlemen, is I have 9 watches. I can't lie to you. I love them all. They all work for me. Man, it would be tough to sell my watches. So I was thinking about what he wrote, and I wrote back to him. I said, you know, you're right, Lee. I mean, is there really a difference between me owning 7 and 11 watches? I mean, intellectually, what's 4 watches? But emotionally, I have to tell you, man, owning 11 watches is overwhelming, while 7 feels manageable. It just must be some sort of psych ops game, you know. And so, I don't know, should I try Watch Minimalism? Should you? And, you know, there's no good answer. That's the problem. I mean, one, if you consolidate your collection, you may likely suffer from seller's regret and end up growing. You're going to grow your collection anyway. You know why? Have you noticed that in the watch business, about every 6 months, a new wave of new watches comes up, and those YouTubers are reporting on it. We got a new wave. A new wave is coming, and these YouTubers are talking about the new wave with great enthusiasm and great alacrity. Slow down, McMahon. You sound like a preacher. So, yeah, you could try Watch Minimalism, but here's the thing, man. Unless you've got some secret sauce that protects you from the new wave of watches and the new temptations, your collection's going to grow anyway. And by the way, if you've got that secret sauce, contact me. I'm in the market for the secret sauce, man. I got a beautiful Tudor Black Bay in my collection. Didn't stop me from looking at the 44mm Seiko Captain Willard. No. So, on the other hand, you know, I got to tell you guys something. Dozens of people have contacted me to tell me that they're much happier when they get their collection down. They're less anxious, they're more happy, they feel like they've got their life under control. So what's my conclusion, man? Am I going to be cowardly and not give you any answers? Nah, I think I'm going to give you some answers. You know what, man? If you're a watch collector, I don't see anything abnormal about having a dozen watches. That doesn't strike me as pathological or weird or self-destructive. You just have to ask yourself, can you emotionally handle having 12 watches? And as Lee says, that's an individual choice. Regarding me, I mean, I don't mind spending another $3,000 on watches. For me, the problem is I want an end game, and I don't. That's what kills me. I don't think there's an end game in this. And if I knew that I could spend $3,000 on a couple more watches and take a break, just take a mental break, man, that would be fantastic. So tell me what you think, ladies and gentlemen, about this watch minimalistic aspiration. And until next time, I'm out.